Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to a match preview as Ipswich Town travel on the 27th of December, live on Amazon Prime TV to take on Arsenal at the Emirates. We're here to discuss our thoughts and feelings heading into the game. Before we do, don't forget we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Support the life-saving work of the EAAA by playing their weekly lottery. The easiest way to play is online. Sign up now for just £1 per ticket for a chance to win one of 18 weekly prizes, ranging from £50 to £1,000. Players must be aged 18 or over. Please be gamble aware. The link is in our description to play. So Arsenal up next, Matt. We've just been thumped 4-0 by Newcastle. Doesn't get any easier. What are your thoughts heading in to this fixture?
One of trepidation.
True.
I mean, there's two ways of looking at this, isn't there? I think. You know, one side of the coin, as we were saying earlier, before we started recording, these are the moments you dream of, isn't it?
Absolutely.
When we was in League One and, you know, struggling under Lambert, under Paul Cook and whatever, and hoping that McKenna could get you back to the promised land at some point. And of course, we got there in double quick fashion. But yeah, Ipswich Town should be playing Morecambe or Forest Green or Rochdale, whoever it was at that time. You're dreaming of nights at the Emirates under lights against Arsenal, and the dream comes true because we've got it coming up this week. So, but with that comes a huge gulf in quality between the two sides, right? You got Arsenal obviously vying for the title, and us vying to stay out of the bottom three or get out of the bottom three and clinch that sacred 17th place that would give you another season of Premier League football. So, you know, it feels like we might want to watch it from behind the sofa or whatever if you're going to be watching it on Amazon Prime, or if you're lucky enough to get a ticket in the Emirates, you're watching it through your hands a little bit. It's one of them games we just want to get through, but as an occasion, fantastic, because it's those kind of nights, you know, in London, under lights, against Arsenal, you know, one of the world's great teams. I mean, it couldn't get any better, but unfortunately, the quality between the two is polar opposites. That's the issue we've got, isn't it?
That is, yeah. And that's obviously, as we record this on a Sunday afternoon with Christmas coming up, that's why we're doing it as a recording. I hate doing recordings. I'd rather do it live with our wonderful community. But as we head into it, this is the table. Arsenal sitting third, played 17, 33 points. They'll be in third, regardless, come the 27th, because everyone's played around them. They've, you know, won, drawn, won. They've won a lot of games, as you would imagine, being title contenders. Yeah. And obviously, Town are at the bottom of the end of the table, third from bottom. It's a big game. Lots of quality to be watched. You know, you've got Gabriel Jesus, very good striker. Some great players for Arsenal. But as you say, perhaps watching it through your hands a little bit. Before I go into who else is playing in terms of around us, we did a Survivor League where a lot of players started, and we are now at the end because we now have a winner of our Talking Town Survivor League prediction, Matt, and it is a certain Dan Stratter's 1807. His choices were Tottenham, Villa, Newcastle, Liverpool, Arsenal, Brighton. That's where he lost a life. He had 2 lives to lose. Chelsea. And do you know the team that won it for him? Ipswich Town away at Wolves.
Wolves. There you go. He rolled the dice.
He rolled the dice. He said in his comment on YouTube, if I'm going down, I'm going to go down with my team. I'm backing them. And they came through. Jack Taylor with that header came through. For Dan Stratters, congratulations. Please email, and you'll find the email in our description. Or if not, head to social media and find one of our accounts. But please email or DM us, and we'll sort you out with a prize. Prediction League, Survivor Prediction League, back in January with a few tweaks just to make it a little bit more seamless. But we're back. So Dan Stratters, 1807.
You've been. I mean, you had a couple of weeks blip with it, didn't you, when you were poorly? We can excuse that. But you've been very invested in it. It's worked well.
I love it. I think it's great fun. Well, we'll make a few tweaks, but Dan Stratter's 1807, congratulations. Now, hopefully, Town can have that winning feeling as we head in. Looking around the fixture list, Matt, you've got Leicester away at Liverpool. You'd hope Liverpool are going to beat Leicester there. You've got Wolves at home to Man United. You'd hope Man United potentially sharp in that game and win there.
Come on, Ruben. Yeah.
And obviously, you've got us away at Arsenal. Now, we've got some team news to discuss. Sam Morsey obviously can't play, but Liam Delap is coming back. But the first place we have to start is the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Are you sticking with Muric?
Well, I mean, what I want and what actually happens are generally poles apart. A bit like Arsenal and Ipswich, to be honest with you. I think he'll probably stick with Muric. I think he will. And I think I think McKenna feels justified to have to keep playing him because he spent big on him. And I don't think Walton is the answer either. And as we've said on the Sunday show, we don't know enough about Slicker to know whether or not he could play on the big stage. That being said, he has had a Scotland call up last month. So obviously they see something there. Maybe he's one for the future. What is he, 21, 22? It's probably similar age to Delap, I would have thought, but finds himself behind the pecking order. I think he will play Muric. And if you bring Bolton in and you got jubbed 4, 5, 6 at the Emirates, everyone's going to start pointing fingers at Warman anyway. So I mean, it's a losing battle for him. So I think Muric will play, but I thought Muric played well against Wolves. I actually thought he didn't do too badly against Newcastle, other than he gives a hospital pass to Cahuste that brings on Newcastle's third goal. But the problem is, you could play well for X amount of minutes. You make that one mistake, and everyone just, the magnifying glass is on you as a goalkeeper, and he keeps doing it time and time again, and it's costing you goals. And given that, we haven't scored that many goals this season in the Premier League, having scored loads in the Football League, it's an uphill battle for us each time. So I think it'll be Muric. I think he'll play, but how we address that moving forward, I don't know. I mean, if he's going to keep making mistakes, we're going to keep finding ourselves in the bottom three, I think. This is the issue.
As I said on Sunday's show, I think it'd be Muric in goal till the end of the season, all barring an injury. I think he'll stick with him. He'll stick with the confidence, not just because of the fee they've paid for him, but I think he's got belief this is a goalkeeper that can come good, and he's shown glimpses. And as I've said, there's always a caveat with Muric. There's always Muric did well, but Muric did well, but so it's got. You
don't want that in the keeper, though, do you? You don't want that. Well, you don't really want that with any of your players, really. Certainly, you don't want that with a keeper, do you? Because you're just always kind of legislating for an error. I can forgive. I think I probably could have forgiven him the mistake yesterday at 2 down anyway. Against Newcastle for the third goal, if he hadn't made errors in other games that have cost us, like the Bournemouth one, like when he just comes running out. The balls. He's got covering defenders. I mean, it just made no sense to me.
His decision making needs to improve. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, into the back line. What's your back four going to be?
I mean, it's a quandary, isn't it? You've conceded 4 at home against Newcastle. Do you keep the same back line to go into the Lions then at the Emirates? So I mean, it probably does need changes. Where those tweaks would be, I don't know. Certainly, we would love to have Axel Tuanzebe back, wouldn't we, for Arsenal? I mean, I don't think Johnson or Clark are particularly the answer. I mean, do you like Johnson as a right back?
I do.
There's a question mark over his attacking threat, I think. That being said, who sets up the assist at Man City? Another big stage where Smodics goes on and scores. It was Johnson, right? So, and he did play well against Leicester City, to be fair, in that 1-1.
So what's your back four?
Maybe I'd bring Johnson in there. Certainly, Dara seems to be getting a free pass at the moment. Is Wolfenden breathing down his neck to get back in the side? I'm not sure. Why Wolfenden was even taken out of the side? Don't know. Again, was it the justification of a big fee paid for Dara O'Shea and the promise of first team football? I don't know, because Wolfenden got drops off the back of the Fulham game, which we drew.
Yeah, right? And him and Greaves were forming a really good partnership.
Yeah, they look good. And you're totally right about Greaves. He came with huge fanfare. We saw him in the beginning of the season up until he gets injured. Everyone's waxing lyrical about him. He could go on and play for England, etc., etc. Then he gets the injury, falls away. Cam comes in, done phenomenally well. So yeah, I don't know. I bet he wishes Greaves was right-footed.
I bet he does.
Right-footed. Do you know what I mean? Rather than competing for that left-sided berth. But I think for this game, I think Greaves would be on a hide into nothing to come back into the side against an Arsenal's against an Arsenal team that is probably going to put a few past us. I mean, look, he didn't play that great, did he? Against Palace, slips for the Mateta goal, and he saw himself out again. So I think he'll probably keep O'Shea and Burgess in there, given who we're playing, and then leave at left back. So yeah, maybe the only change I would make is probably at right back.
Yeah,
I just hope we can get. Will Tuanzebe even play again this season? Is that someone we need to look at in the window to actually get some quality in there? I don't know.
Last word, obviously, was he was going to see a specialist, and it all goes quiet as it often does. And
it's a few months in it, a hamstring injury. Look at that; it's probably of the same ilk of the one that Hurst got on last Boxing Day against Leicester a year ago, and he was out. We didn't come back again till April, did he?
No, I think it's season done for Axel. I hope it's not. I pray it's not, but I think it's season done. Into midfield, you're missing your captain, Sam Horsey. He's serving a suspension. Who's your midfield two you're going to be then, Matt?
I think it has to be, if fit, it has to be Calvin and Cahuste, I think. They performed well at Brentford, albeit we lost the game. Should have won it, maybe. Should have at least got a point. But we did lose that game. But we know Cousteau and Phillips actually don't ever seem to compete 90 minutes. I mean, what's going to be the options from the bench? And we're going to see Jack Taylor come into the frame. Is Massimo Luongo going to be...
A rare Massimo Luongo sighting.
Yeah, apparently he was ill for the Newcastle match, which is why he didn't feature.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think I saw that. Did McKenna say that in the interview after?
Has he really slipped out of the picture now? Do you feel like that's a player perhaps you're looking to move on in January?
Maybe.
I mean, okay, he might have been ill for Newcastle, but he seems to have really slipped down that that picking order, doesn't he? I
don't think he's. He came on as a cameo at Spurs, didn't he?
Yes.
I do wonder whether or not. I mean, people have said this on other pods. Was that a nice little farewell to Ipswich at where you started your career at Spurs? Maybe. We're not sure really. Again, we don't really get the answers to that kind of thing, but. To think that we kind of called him Missimo, didn't we? Because we didn't see him for months on end after he'd signed. And then to think the role he's played in the double promotions, he's been, that is a free transfer. Just great business from McKenna. So I'll give him all the credit for that. But who knows? Who knows? He may get a renaissance in the Premier League. We don't know. We're kind of just having to assume, aren't we? We've not known all the facts.
He seems well down the pecking order, doesn't he?
He does seem.
Phillips, Taylor, Karius, Morsey, then Massimo.
That's
that fifth.
But it seems like he would, given that Calvin and Cousteau don't play 90 minutes, don't seem to be able to, or they're nursing knocks that can only let them play 65, 70 minutes at maximum level. Could see Massimo at Arsenal then. Could do from the bench. Wouldn't surprise me.
Ex-Tottenham Massimo Luongo 91st minute winner incoming.
Could you imagine?
Well,
that's too much Roy the Rover stuff, isn't it?
I can dream it. All right, 3 behind. I imagine Delap comes straight back in for you.
Well, we saw how much we missed him against Newcastle, didn't we? Offensively. So yes, he'll come back in if fit. Hopefully, touch wood. Yeah. And then what's the 3 behind him? What is the 3 behind him? Certainly, Murray got taken off against Newcastle. At the moment, as we record, we still really don't know why. Was it tactically? Give him a rest, get him ready for Arsenal. Was there a knock there? Don't know. So the press conference might follow this content and we'll look daft. But certainly if Murray's fit, then we want him playing. Smodix on the left. Chaplin maybe in the middle. Or does Murray go into the middle for this?
What's Broadhead got to do to get a start? He's come on twice.
Yeah.
Looked fairly decent. For me, he's still one of the best carries of the ball at the football club. He's still one of the best first touches of the ball at the football club. What's he got to do for minutes, as a starter? This is the player that obviously moved the needle for us back in January last year. And yes, the needle's moved well and truly away from where it was when he arrived, but he can still offer something. I'm surprised we've not seen more of him.
So you were saying this after the Newcastle game, weren't you? That you would move Smodix into the 10 to allow Broadhead to play on the left, and then you can have Amari on the right, and then we've got Connor coming from and Wes Burns coming from the bench effectively. So what's the
man got to do to see players who in their arguably natural position that they were top of their game at in the league below? What's the man got to do? Like I'm getting blue in the face of dreaming of Smodix as a 10, not an inverted 10. Jack Clark, who everyone was salivating over. Oh, we signed Jack Clark. What a great player for Sunderland. He's a great player. We've barely seen him, right? And it's flattered to deceive, really, other than the wonderful corner he put in against Wolves for Taylor to head. That's fair. That's fair. But Broadhead again, equally great player at Championship level. If you'd signed him, you'd have been just as delighted having the season he had for Ipswich the year before. Not seen him. We're seemingly tucking in the Championship's top goal scorer from the 10 position. Like he didn't score at Leeds out wide on the left, did he? Smodix, that goal we all celebrated in our cars when we were trying to. It was down the middle. What have I got to do to see it? I'll pray until I'm blue in the face, but just give me it. I'd like to see. I would, given that we're coming off the back of a 4-0 and we were offensively not very good. I'd like to see Broadhead get given a go. There was once upon a time in our football league days that Broadhead was undroppable. If he weren't featuring again like Chaplin, you get to the Premier League and you get new players in, and suddenly the old favourites, because they're so familiar, and drop to the bench and they're out of mind a little bit. And that's happened with Broadhead, which is, when I was walking past the North Stand in the pissing rain after for the Newcastle game, one of the pictures up there is ice in his veins. The Broadhead penalty against Port Vale that pretty much put the promotion in our hands. I mean, that was truly ice in his veins, and
To think that he would not be part of a Premier League campaign as it is at the moment, when you look at that history and the impact that he's had in games, the goal against Southampton, the second goal just before Sarmiento gets the winner. So it feels like he should be featuring, really. I mean, he's got all the talent, but I mean, are they managing fitness? Are they managing an injury? He gets injured easy, doesn't he? Let's not forget.
He does.
He might be injured, didn't he? Slept funny in the hotel bed or something, didn't he?
When he first signed, I misspoke a second ago. Obviously, he was signed the January before last, not last January. But I mean, you're right in what you say. He obviously has those fitness concerns. But if he's fit,
the fact that we never know what that 3 is going to be behind Delap speaks volumes, really, doesn't it? That McKenna isn't happy with the 3 from game to game, because we're never put in a run of wins together, are we? So you can never actually. No. He's always looking for the solution to the problem, which is how do we get some momentum? And we never capitalise on them. We've only capitalised on momentum once this season, haven't we? We win at Spurs. We get a fantastic draw against Man United. And as we said in the Sunday show, as Mike Brown said, Onana kept United in that. Delap could have had 2 goals in that. We played very well. We don't capitalise on the win against Wolves by a terrible performance against Newcastle. I don't know. There's just never enough momentum moments to have a solid 3 behind it, because Delap is first name on the team sheet, isn't he? He's the only goal threat, really. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, you're right. Like Palace, for example, they used our victory as a springboard. They got a bit of momentum now. They've gone on a couple of decent results after it.
Yeah. And it's not like, when you look at these defences, like you're up against, like Newcastle, for example, who were the fullbacks, Trippier and Lewis Hall, England internationals. It's not like when he's making changes on the flanks, be it like Clark one side and Murray the other, or Burns, or whoever it might be, or Smodics on the left, whoever it might be. You're invariably coming up against international players anyway, aren't you? So it's not like there's going to be a dip in class in those positions from the opposition, is there? So he's forever trying to force the change, force the solution by using the pieces that we've got, but you're forever coming up against quality anyway.
Well, exactly. This is the Premier League. That's why it's the best league in the world. And I've heard people talk about, you yourself is talking about maybe a change of formation, 3 in midfield. I disagree with that.
Well, I don't think he'll ever. Well, we've had it said loads of times on the show, haven't we? I mean, you said right at the top of the season, could you accommodate 3 in midfield, didn't you? Given you've got Phillips, Morsey, Kuste. But we said that tactically McKenna wasn't very good against Newcastle. I don't think he's ever going to stray from the 4-2-3-1 or variation of that, in possession, out of possession, however you want to call it. I don't think that's always going to be the foundation for me. We've got this far in the season.
And my issue with the 3 in midfield is your lack of width. You'd have to ask Davis, which he does anyway, but more so Clark or Johnson, to be really high in attack and provide the width with a narrow 3 in midfield.
Which Johnson was against Manchester City. He sets up Smodics, right? But
the issue becomes you're going to get, once again, susceptible to the counter-attack, because you're going to lose the ball inevitably in an area and have both your full-backs high up the field. You're not...
As we did within the first 30 seconds against Newcastle.
So by thinking you're going more solid with 3 in midfield, I actually think you're going less solid. You're leaving yourself more open, because you're having to ask your right side player to be your width and provide up and down cover, which is impossible to do for 90 minutes at the top level. Impossible.
The only time we've really seen McKenna just not stray away from the formation, but certainly put some extra thinking into it, was how they marked Son in the game at Spurs, wasn't it? Because we had Twanzebe there and Johnson, and they dovetailed beautifully to keep him really quiet. I mean, look, we go into this Arsenal game thinking, oh, bloody hell, what could it be? 4, 5, 6. Actually, we were saying the same, weren't we, for the Spurs game? Because they were on a demolition job at that time, hadn't they? They'd stuck 4 past West Ham, they'd stuck 4 past Villa, they'd stuck 4 past who else? I forget now. But they were on a right tear, weren't they? And we were we were going into that game like we are with Arsenal, in a kind of damage limitation mode, and we get out there and win 2-1. A lot of that was down to, I can be critical about McKenna tactically in some of the games this season. That was really clever, I thought. That was, and that was kind of acknowledged, wasn't it, on like a global scale? That was asked in press conferences and things, that you really kept him quiet. We reduced Spurs to just shooting from outside the box. That Timo Werner was shooting from the box when he's Solanke. I mean, look, whether or not there's something to be done there in the tactics against Arsenal, I don't know. Whether or not Saka's going to play, he went off injured, I think, in the 5-1 over Palace. Not sure. But they've got an abundance of options, haven't they? But I mean,
they have.
It's going to be very interesting. I mean, to me, it feels like Ipswich don't change their tactics and like to get on the front foot We were clever against Spurs. I feel like we've got to probably get into that mindset at the Emirates a little bit, but you don't want to be bringing dry grass to a machine gun fight, do you? I mean,
No.
you know, we could look fairly tepid offensively, and then what's coming down the other end, you could be 2-3 down within, you know, like Southampton saw against Tottenham. They were 4 down within 20 minutes, and that was even at home.
That was. All right, so let's go for a score prediction. All right, what do you think the score is going to be? Let us know in the comments what you think the score is going to be, and chime in with any opinion you've got on what you've heard on today's match preview show. But your score, please, sir.
Well, you know, it's going to be a nerve-wracking game for the Town. I mean, I hope we don't concede early. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we've done it at West Ham, was within a minute. We've conceded early against United in 90 seconds, and we did it in under 30 seconds against Newcastle. We're going to get off to a really bad start like that at the Emirates. It could be a cricket score. But like I say, you know, we went to Spurs thinking we'd get drubbed 4 or 5, and we ended up winning that game. I'm pretty certain Arsenal will probably win it. I mean, they've been a bit funny, haven't they, at home? Like Leicester they dropped a 2-goal lead against Leicester, didn't they? Leicester got it back to 2-2, ended up winning. Arsenal eventually ended up winning 4-2. Newcastle, Everton go there and get a 0-0 draw, albeit barely got into the, I think it was 80-20% wise on the possession to Arsenal. Shows you they dominated. I think they'll dominate us. I think it'll be 3-0 to the Gunners.
3-0 to the Gunners. All right. Yeah. I'm gonna say 3 things. There's always a funny result at Christmas. Always.
It's going to be this one.
One result you go, how'd that happen? You've mentioned the home form, you know, Everton getting a point, the Leicester game. So I'm going to say 1-1.
Who's turned into the Ipswich manager? Sean Dyche or something? What's going in here? Could you imagine that? Feel like a point now would feel like 3, wouldn't it? Which is why the Spurs win was so big, wasn't it?
I've written my letter. I've asked Father Christmas.
You've had a swig of the Christmas brandy, I think, before you've done this one.
Certainly have. And I've said, please, Santa.
I hope you're right.
Please.
I hope you're right.
All I want for Christmas is a point at the Emirates. Because I feel like asking for 3 would be too much.
I mean, look, it'd be wonderful if we get something out of that game. It's certainly when you know you've got Chelsea coming on the 30th of December. And, you know, that's going to be our first home game after the 4-0 drubbing against Newcastle. So the fixture calendar has not been a good one for us, hasn't it? These 3 games back to back, but it is what it is. You've got to play them at some point. You just don't want to play them in a row, unfortunately.
Exactly. But anyway, we're done for the match preview. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Christmas, and Merry Christmas to you, your friends, your family, and everybody you know. Have a great one, safe one, and have lots of food. Just enjoy.
Happy Christmas, everyone.
We'll be back, obviously, after the game to Arsenal for our match reaction. So join us then. But until then, stay well, stay happy. God bless. Bye-bye.